Okay, you keep an eye on that again. Yeah, so, and then the other key concept we need to understand is variables, right? So, what do you guys think a variable is? We've mentioned it, but without actually talking about it.
Yeah, it's a quantity that takes different values.
Quantity that take different values. Any examples of quantities that take different values that we've mentioned? What can take different values that we've talked about? Age. If I talk to 50 people, is there a chance that their ages are different?
Yes.
So age is the variable. It can take different values within my data set, right? The information I have collected.
Okay.
Sorry?
Wood.
The routine?
Yeah.
No, like wood, like the wood.
Or the road? Yeah, could be true, yes. Maybe you have different routes, right, for a particular road to use. Maybe you can use route A, route B, route C, right? So maybe you can ask people, what route do you use to go to your work? Maybe, I use this particular route, this person use this other route. So all of those, they can take different values, right? Now, so those are variables. Now those variables, you can consider them within these areas as well. Some of those variables may be about gender. Each person you talk to, maybe you ask them, are they male or female? That's a variable.
Yes.
And what race they are, their marital status, you ask. So that's what a variable is. And they are very, they are fundamental to statistics. Because most often, questions in surveys relate to a particular variable. And maybe if you ask a question, what's your gender? Or how much do you enjoy this particular dish in our restaurant? Level of satisfaction is going to be a variable. So that's for key terms you need to keep in mind. Now, what is raw data?
These are information that have not yet been processed.
Information we haven't processed yet, right? And then we have, so we haven't processed yet. When we have processed information, how do we often present it? In what sort of ways do you often see information that has been processed? Yeah, how do you see it? Information that has been processed. It can be, how do we show it when we go and present it to people? You have collected everything, you've done your analysis, which is the intermediate stage after you've cleaned up, you've gathered the data. You are going to present this information in charts. Yeah. You can use different types of charts to present this information. So you can use a pie chart. For example, this could be a political party going out and asking people, what do you think our party should focus on? Asking their supporters. Or just general people. Maybe some people say, employment, everyone wants jobs. Some people say, let's spend more on education. Some people will say, let's spend more on food security. You go and collect all this information around, and when you come back, you are going to input this information. For each employment, this is the number of people that say they want prefer employment. These are the people that want food security. These are the people that want this. Right? And there are rules for you to create a pie chart. Right? The pie chart, so each of these frequencies, the number of people that chose a particular category. For example, in the case of the pie chart, you are going to take the value, divide it by the total frequency of everything you've collected, so 55, 25, 15, 15, 15, 10 in this case. So that total is 120, right? So each of the values, 55 over 120 multiplied by 360.
165.
165. Why do you think we say times 360?
Because the circle is only 60 degrees.
The circle is 360 degrees, right? So cut off a circle into 360 parts. We represent by convention each of those parts. Mathematicians just sat down, people agreed like, okay, let's take 1 degree like this, right? They agreed on that convention. So now you can use that idea. This as a portion of this circle that you have. Okay? So you find the sector angle of each of the categories. After you found all of that, then you can use tools in your mathematical set to be able to draw your pie chart. Right?
Yes.
Now, what is the difference between this table, if I just show somebody this table versus this picture here?
It is in a raw form.
That is the correct one. That's
Oh,
this
correct.
one is the rough. That one is the
end product.
yeah.
The end product. But what makes it better? If I'm going now to talk to people, I'm going to address our party convention. Why is this better to show people than this?
Because that
They
is
will
not
understand better than this rough
It's
one.
easier to understand information on charts. Right?
Yeah.
Say maybe I want to show you, I say there is a relationship between, maybe say crime and unemployment. Right? So I will tell you, I will show you maybe one part of a graph, I will show you crime rates within the city, and then on one other part of the graph, I will show you the level of unemployment. So if you notice that as the unemployment grows, unemployment of level 1, level 2, level 3, all the way as it grows, you notice that each of those times, the crime rate is going up. You say, when you go and show people, it's difficult for they will see straight away the relationship, right?
Yeah.
They will see that when we have crime and unemployment, we are noticing there is a trend. So when you're going to argue to the government to say, you know what, we really need to take unemployment seriously. Someone will say, why? Well, look, there's a relationship between unemployment and crime rate. Can you see from the chart? We say, oh, yes, amazing. It's easy to communicate that way, right? It's easy to show people. When you show them a picture, they see how much of this chart, this pie, the section on employment takes, right? They will know straight away that most of our people are interested in employment.
Okay.
So how would a political party use this sort of information? In their campaigning or after their campaign when they are reading their manifesto?
Campaign.
How do they use it?
They use these charts like to get
The people
to
vote for them.
like if they want their support, since they know that it's employment is their problem, they will be like, okay, but we use our own job facility for you guys so you can be able to be employed.
True, right? So the government will open facilities for employment because they know this is what people have said. And if one member of the party thinks, no, let's focus on doing this one other thing, sports or football. Somebody say, okay, I know you like that, but most of the people we talk to said this is the most important thing for them. So why don't you focus on that? So it helps in decision making where people disagree. Because maybe when I'm talking to you, you believe we should spend more on sports. Maybe you're a sports fanatic. But if we are going to, so that's your own opinion, your view. But if we are going to represent the whole group, it's better to think in terms of statistics, what the general population said. Right? You can make arguments about that. Sometimes you don't always follow the statistics. Maybe the statistics will say you do this, but you actually think, these people, let's don't leave the disabled people. Although people say let's not focus on disabled people, they have not prioritized it, but we think it's still useful as a government, right? So you do something about it. So it's not always, statistics should be there to guide you in decision making. It gives you objective data that avoids your own bias. Because maybe you are interested in food security, somebody is interested in something. Statistics removes your own bias if it's done well. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's main topics. So we're talking mainly about two groups of statistics. We'll be dealing with measures of central tendency. When you collect information, is it the thing is still flipping?
Yes, sir.
When you collect information in your processing it, so the statistics you'll be involved in, is about like the average value that this particular variable took. Maybe you want to the price of fish. After you collected, you talk to 100 people. You want to find, okay, what is the rough price of fish in a common market in Sierra Leone? If you want to ask that question, you probably want to calculate the mean. Right?
Yes,
so it's like the central value, where all the other values are they are close to that value. How do we calculate the mean? Anybody knows?
Sigma x upon n.
So there are several formulas you can use to calculate it. We'll explore those ones. But in general, it has to do with all the observations, right? You add up all those observations, and then you divide them by the number of observations. So one value has 13, another has 5, another one has this and that, right? So you add up all those values and then you divide by the number of values. If you have 8 values, you divide by 8. Right? It gives you a rough idea. There are problems with that sort of value. Say maybe I ask you for your confidence level in maths. You give me 2, somebody says 4, somebody says 6, 5, 3. Okay, it's 5 of you that I spoke to, right? I can collect all those values that you chose, 5, 4, 3, 2. I add them all up and I divide by the number of people that I spoke to, which is 5. That gives me the average, the mean. It's always called the arithmetic mean. But I just mentioned that somebody says 5, another person said 2, another person says 6, right? So I need to consider dispersion. So something to measure the differences between those figures that you gave me, to consider it, right? The advantage of the mean is that it takes into account all the information you have collected, right? But it can be challenging because it is affected by extreme values. If you pick 10 out of 10, that's how you rate yourself in math, 10 out of 10, and somebody else gave themselves 2, your 10 will make that value, the mean, go up. Right?
Yeah.
We want to test it?
Yes.
Say maybe I'll ask you.
You can also take that example there. Or no?
Yeah, actually true. So we can add up all of these and we divide them by the number, right? Or say, yeah. But then if we change one of these values, maybe this 15, we change it to maybe 50. The figure is now, the value is going to be higher, the mean we're going to get. Okay? So you want to be careful when you have extreme values. Even somebody will tell you, like in America, the average income is maybe $55,000 per person.